Hello and welcome. This is Gloria Prest at Mind in Focus. I am a psychotherapeutic counselor and a hypnotherapist. And I thought that I understood the power of words, particularly since I speak 4 languages. But it wasn't really until I learned about hypnosis and how to use hypnotherapy that I fully understood the power that words have to affect your mental states and to affect what's going on within your mind and how it affects your well-being. So I've created a presentation that mostly speaks about precisely that, how to use some knowledge about your subconscious and how to use the words that you tell yourself to help your well-being. And I am going to share that with you as soon as I manage to get into. There you are. This is the presentation. Useful tips from a hypnotherapist. The power of words. Right. Why are they powerful? Because they affect directly the subconscious part of your mind. And in case you didn't know it, 90% or more of all your choices that you make about everything, about your shopping, about your behavior, about your reactions that you have with other people in different situations, most of what you do automatically is controlled by your subconscious, by the subconscious part of your mind. And if we were able to represent it, the proportion of your mind that is conscious to the one that is subconscious, we might come with something like this, which I must stress is not an accurate anatomically accurate or mathematically accurate, but it's just a broad representation. The part of the mind that we have access to, our consciousness, is only 10%. The other part is 50 to 60% subconscious and 30 to 40% unconscious. So the subconscious holds everything that has ever happened to you, all the memories, all the things that you have learned, all the things that you have acquired, they're held in your subconscious. And your unconscious part, let's say, that refers most to the processes that keep you alive, that you don't need to be aware of. So you don't need to know which muscle it is that you need to tense in which particular way to be able to walk. You simply do that in an unconscious way. So if we were able to represent why is this, the subconscious part, more dominant when it comes to making decisions and controlling your life, is because the subconscious part of your mind has 1,000,000 times more processing power than the conscious mind. The subconscious mind is able to process 40 million bits of information per second, compared to the conscious mind that can process 40 bits of information per second. So I try to represent, sort of in a visual way, why the subconscious is so powerful and why it's important that we understand what it does and how it works in order to use it better. So what I learned through hypnotherapy is that hypnosis, the process of hypnosis, and if you use it targeted and professionally in a very accurate manner, it can go into this part. Hypnotherapy can access the information that is in here, that information that is held in the subconscious part of the brain. And it can just check what is held in there, and it checks out whether the information is still valid, because some ideas and some things that you picked up along the way since you were a child till you're an adult or whatever might no longer be valid, or might actually be ideas that are holding you back or creating some problems. So a lot of the people who develop mental health issues, it might be what's happened to them in life later on, but it might be that they have some ideas or some conceptions and some preconceptions or some rules in the subconscious that are not helpful and are not valid for their current life, and that creates a lot of problems. So with hypnotherapy, you can go in, find out what's there that's not useful, and you can remove this, what's erroneous or what's no longer valid, and update the content so that the content of the subconscious actually matches the current reality of the person and what the person wants. So if we talk about what is the role or the function of the subconscious, it's mostly a very vast, sorry, my pronunciation is a little bit off sometimes. So it's a very large memory bank. It memorizes everything you have ever experienced, every situation you've been in, everything that has ever happened to you is held in the subconscious memory bank. And with this memory bank, it creates a program of how you need to function in the world, and it ensures that you act exactly according to this program that you have acquired since birth, since childhood. And it makes sure that what you do and what you say is consistent, it fits in with a pattern that is consistent with your self-identity, with your self-concept. It is part of your self-identity, and your self-concept is part of your master program, and your subconscious holds this program in a way that you react according to it, but you're not necessarily aware of it and what the program actually consists of. So the programming starts very early on, from birth or even before, and we're not aware of it while it's taking place. We simply absorb during childhood. Up to the age of 7, particularly, children are very permeable by somebody else's ideas and somebody else's concepts of the world. So they absorb a lot of things they're not aware of, but they just pick up these ideas. Some of them are explicit ideas that they've understood and they pick up, and some of them they're just sometimes misunderstandings. And just to give you an example, there was a client that I had that he didn't understand why he was extremely successful. Everything was going very well for him. He had the perfect family, lovely children, beautiful, loving wife, a really successful career, good cars, good house. Everything on the surface seemed to be perfectly beautiful and functioning. But his level of stress and his level of anxiety was beginning to be unmanageable. And the more successful he got, the more anxious he got, and he couldn't understand why. So we did some work and we came up with just 2 sessions or 3 in the end. We were able to figure out exactly what was going on. And it turned out that when he was a child, he picked up the idea from somewhere. He was before the age of 7, I think, and he picked up the idea that every time something good happens to you, it has to be compensated by something bad happening to you or your family. So he was not aware of this belief that he picked up early on, and he doesn't know exactly where he picked up, but he remembers being in a specific room in his house when he was that age and having that thought and having that realization, that sort of light bulb moment, right? When something good happens, something bad's got to have to happen to compensate for it. Of course, this is completely false, but he carried that belief without knowing it into adulthood. So, not surprisingly, the more successful he got, the worse things got for him. Eventually, he was obviously able to address that, remove that false belief from his subconscious, and enjoy all the success that he obviously had earned in his life. And it was a really successful treatment within very few sessions, because it was just one bad idea that he was holding in his subconscious. So when we're adults, we act according to these beliefs that we have acquired, and we don't always know what it is that is there that is making trouble for us. So there are different types of programs for different situations. So you have one for behaving in relationships, in intimate relationships, or with relationships with friends or with colleagues. You have another program that is how to react to certain events in life, how you celebrate things, or how you feel what you do when you're not feeling well. You have program for how to treat yourselves according to you perceive self-worth. And this is an important one for mental health. how you treat yourself according to your self-worth will determine whether you will have more or less healthy mind. The other big job for the subconscious is to be an excellent surveillance system. It's a really sophisticated system of surveillance. And because it has such an amazing processing power, it monitors the environment, what it is outside of yourself, all of the time. It is always on, and it will register things that you will never be able to register at a conscious level. So it's always on the alert, just looking around and sensing what's around so that it can detect danger very early on. That's how we have evolved to use this system. But also, it registers what's going on inside of you. It's not just what is on the outside, it's what's the inside. So what sensations you're having on your body, that's what it tells you. You feel the sensation that you need to go to the toilet, or you feel the sensation that you've got the stomach, you have butterflies on your stomach, and you can make the interpretation. You could be that you are feeling very excited, or it could be that you're feeling anxious, or it could be there are different interpretations that you can give to different sensations in your body. So, but it's also monitoring the thoughts and the ideas that are going on through your head and how you value yourself. It picks up on the value that your own words express about yourself and acts accordingly. Now, what is very important to understand is that as amazingly powerful and the amazing ability to process information that your subconscious has is still a subordinate to your conscious mind. And it takes every word that you say and every thought that you have consciously as a set of instructions, a blueprint for creating the reality that you're expressing through your words and through your thoughts. So as powerful as it is subservient to the conscious mind. And that is why sometimes we don't understand how powerful what we say it is in creating circumstances and situations that make life either easier or more difficult. But it has a few problems. So the subconscious, although is there to serve you and wants to do it very willingly, and the most important thing for your subconscious to do is to keep you well and to keep you safe, it has some difficulties. So it has problems with language, understanding language, and also it doesn't update its program automatically. It doesn't have automatic updates. You need to go and update it now and then, because the program that was really good and right for you at the age of 7 is no longer good at 47. And unless an update has been occurring, then you will react like a 7-year-old in certain situations when you might be 47 or older, or any other age, but it's not very helpful. So the problem that the subconscious has with its processing power is that it doesn't get grammar. If you think about it, our ability to read and to express language in words is relatively recent in evolutionary times. So our ability to use language and to use words, spoken language and words, is much more recent than our ability to understand things through images. So the subconscious still works through images. And that's why it doesn't understand the negative. Because negative words like no, don't, do not, will not, never, don't have an image. They're nothing unless they are together with something else that you want to avoid. So they don't have an image, and therefore they're ignored because they lack the image. Other than the image of the actual letters, it doesn't have an image of a thing that it can be in your mind. And this is like sometimes like, how can I express, like with sign language is an image-based language. So in English, you would say the man is on the bridge. But if you say that in sign language, that the poor man will drown, because you have to say the bridge and the man on top. So if you said the man is on the bridge, the man's gone into the river before the bridge arrived. So in sign language, you said the bridge and the man on top. That's just a very basic way of explaining the difference between an image language and a word-based language. So the subconscious still works at the image level of language, and that's why when you say don't do this or don't do that or I don't want this or I don't want that, your subconscious is just getting exactly what it is that you don't want and thinking that it is what you actually want. So because if I tell you do not, and I repeat, do not think in any way or in any way imagine a very large green dog with a pink bow tie dancing the conga, or what happened there? Were you able to follow the instructions of not doing it? No, because your subconscious picked up the images straight away. Other words that the subconscious does not understand are words that have ambiguity. It likes clear instructions, clear things. So when you say things like hope, wish, if only, perhaps, try, these are words that any good professional hypnotherapist will never use with clients, because if you use words like try and you will try to do that, you're giving permission for failure. It will not happen. If you say I hope, hoping is like, just waiting there, being passive and just waiting for something to happen that is not under your control. Somebody else might control it, some other unknown force might control it. It doesn't give you an instruction to get up and do something about it. The same is with I wish. You can wish for the genie to come out of the bottle, but it might never come out. If only, well, if only this or if only that, perhaps. Again, these are words that do not indicate action. They're waiting for things to happen. They're works without power, without momentum to do something. Therefore, your subconscious does not take them as instructions of creating what it is that you wish. So when you want something and you're asking for something, if you are praying or using anything to do with, with attraction, the law of attraction or anything, you always have to say what you want in positive. And it does not differentiate at all between what is real and what it is imaginary. In the sense that if I was to be really frightened now because something's happened that's frightened me, my body will have a reaction. Because let's say that there is a really bad noise outside, out of the window, I can hear horrendous crashing sound, and I just get really frightened all of a sudden, and my body will have a reaction that will create this alertness and this readiness to run away or to fight, if that would be the case. It triggers the fight or flight response. But if I'm thinking about that situation, if now I'm in the future and that was in the past, and if I'm thinking of that crash, it's in my mind, it's not real. My subconscious takes it as it is happening right now, and it creates the same reaction. So it does not recognize the past and it does not recognize the future for creating reactions. It is only a present. That's why when you wish something, you have to wish as if you already have it in the here and the now, and you use present tense always to do affirmations. Now, different thoughts, different words will have different effects, and this is perhaps the most important thing that I would like you to take out of this presentation. It is, if you love and you accept yourself, your subconscious will create the actions that look after your physical and your mental well-being. So the words that you say about yourself and how you talk to yourself and the manner in which you express your thoughts about yourself will indicate to your subconscious whether you love and accept yourself. And if you do, it will do everything to look after something precious. If you don't love yourself very much, or you don't believe that you have much value, it will not bother. It will not create particular action or any particular thing to particularly look after your physical or mental health. It would just be, sort of, why bother sort of attitude. And it will literally not put the effort that it would have put had it, the belief, had it in within the subconscious, if the belief was held that you were something valuable. Right. If you actually seriously dislike yourself or you hate yourself, your subconscious will create the conditions to attack your own body and your own mind, and you are likely to end up with an autoimmune disease or an autoimmune illness. Now, this doesn't mean that everyone that has an autoimmune disease is because they don't like themselves. Some people are biologically unlucky and they get these illnesses. But people who have not a predisposition for them, if they're constantly hating themselves, devaluing themselves, they will end up having not just mental health conditions, but physical health conditions, because the body keeps the score of what your subconscious thinks about you. This is why it's so important that you actually talk nice to yourself and you accept yourself and you love yourself. It doesn't mean that you don't have to improve yourself, that you don't have to grow, that you don't have to learn, that you don't have to make an effort. But accepting yourself as you are is like a baseline from which you can move on and continue to grow and to improve. So in conclusion, if you want to create the future that you want, think about it as it is now, okay? So think about it as you are already living it, and use the present tense when you are wishing things for the future. Use the present tense when you use affirmations. I wish one day I would be rich. No, I am so enjoying the wealth that I have acquired. I am loving being in my villa by the seaside, or having my yacht on the harbor, or whatever it is that, those wouldn't necessarily be my wishes, but it could be somebody else's. So enjoy the things as you already are having them, and that creates the momentum within your subconscious to actually go and do something that will create that reality. Avoid at all costs using negatives. Only imagine what you want and what you have, what you want to have, or who you want to be. Because if you think of what you don't want, that is exactly what you will get. You have to think of the subconscious sometimes, as I say, as a dumb waiter or waitress. And you tell, I don't want to be served a particular dish, or I don't want any butter on my food, or I don't want any, I want the food with no potatoes or with no salad. That's exactly, you'll get the potatoes, you will get the salad, you will get the butter. Everything you say you don't want, it will bring it to you. So be conscious and think about it as a dumb waiter that does not understand the negative. So when you want something, ask exactly what it is that you want in positive words that express what you want, and leave alone what you don't want, because you don't want it, them, the subconscious to come and bring it to you. So in conclusion, you need to love and accept yourself, and you need to say it, and you need to say it in many nice different ways possible, but say it. Repeat it to yourself continuously, even if you don't quite fully believe it. I love and accept myself. Look at yourself in the mirror now and then and say, actually, I like myself. I look good. I'm good enough. All those things give your subconscious really positive messages to look after you. And if it's too hard, because we're not used to it, and sometimes it is too hard to say things like that to yourself, you can just use this method. Ask yourself, I wonder what it would be like. I wonder how it would feel to love and accept myself unconditionally. And this works. Why? This works because your subconscious cannot resist finding the answer to your questions. So when you ask a question, it will bring an answer. If you ask yourself the question, oh, why do I feel so bad? It will go and find 100 things that make you feel bad. This is why you feel so bad. So the question is, why do I feel so good? Why do I feel today better than yesterday? What is it about today that is nice? What is it about today that actually I quite enjoyed? Or what is it about this situation that I can learn something for? If you ask a question like that, you will start getting the answers that are helpful. If you ask why are things so awful, my God, you're going to have a long, long list of things that are awful, and you will believe that it's only awful things that ever exist around you. So be careful what you say to yourself. So, and if you, and as I said, talking again about hypnotherapy, first of all, I need to make one thing quite clear. If you use hypnotherapy, make sure that you go to someone who is qualified and who has been working for a while but has got the right professional qualifications, because some qualifications are there are a little bit dodgy, and with a few days people can just have a title that says they're hypnotherapist. So normally it takes some time to achieve a level of competency, and some places like institutions like the hypnotherapy, the National Hypnotherapy Council and the National Counseling Association and things like that, they actually check that people are registered and they have the qualifications and they say they should have, and that they are homologated. Because being so powerful in the wrong hands, it can be quite damaging. There were some cases in the past where people sort of were mistakenly acquiring false memories, and it caused all sorts of problems. And this is the reason why anything that you remember during a hypnotherapy session, it is not admissible in court. So be careful if you use hypnotherapy, that you choose someone that is fully qualified and has got the credentials to back that up. So, because what hypnotherapy does is it can go to the root of the problem that you want to resolve. It updates the content of the subconscious programming, and it improves the motivation that you may have for change. So eventually, when you get the right things cleared out, and it doesn't take that long, that is stopping you from moving forward, what you get is a clearer and a calmer mind that allows you to be more in control. So your subconscious is more in tune with the conscious part of you, and you don't have to be in constant battle with yourself. And if you'd like to have more information, please just you can book a free exploratory consultation on the phone with me without any commitment. And we can see how we could work together, or just take from this presentation whatever it might have been of use to you. If you want to contact me, those are my contact details. And I hope that you have enjoyed this presentation and that you can get something useful out of it. And thank you very much. I am going to stop this recording now. Thanks for watching.